Hello, everyone. Just a bit of a more casual video today. I just wanted to post a quick video about Dead Island 2 being on Mac because I think it's awesome. This release kind of like shadow dropped last Friday or something, and like it came out of nowhere. Like this was originally announced quite a few years ago back at WWDC, and then it got delayed, but now it's here. So Dead Island 2, the good thing is that it is available on many storefronts. So the App Store, Steam, and the Epic Games Store. Now, multiplayer for Dead Island 2. Multiplayer is interesting here. It is supported, but it's restricted to players using the same store version of the game. So, for example, Steam players can only play co-op with other Steam players. Epic Game players can only play with other Epic Game players, and App Store players can only play with other App Store players. Now, I played the game for 3 hours with Mac Pro tips across a number of Macs, and he's also on a Mac, and he's also owns the game on Steam, and it worked pretty well.
Oh, there's so many.
Oops. Oh,
Dude,
run.
I can't get over that six pack.
This game is so much fun to play with other players, just like Dying Light as well. That game is really fun to play with others, and that has a Mac version. And going back in time, the first Dead Island as well had multiplayer on Mac, and that was fun too, but that game was removed due to being 32-bit. Now, also, the game does have full controller support with rumble vibration, but it doesn't have adaptive trigger support, which is a little bit sad, but not a biggie. Also, controller layout was wrong for me, and I had to change it in the settings, so do keep that in mind. This is also another game with HDR support. I was a little bit nervous that this game would not come with this support, but we do have it, and it's awesome, and it looks really good. This is a very, very good looking game, and having HDR support really adds to it. So if you can, definitely enable it. One really good thing about this game is that it does shader caching at launch. So when you launch the game, it will compile shaders. Although on my M3 Max machine, I did notice that it was still compiling shaders quite dramatically after this for a while, which did result in slowdowns, but I just restarted the game and then it compiled shaders and was much better. So I don't know if anyone else had that issue. Now, this game supports MetalFX, and they have opted for temporal upscaling. Now, overall, it does look pretty good, but the only place where I had issues is with hair. The character's hair is less transparent and quite blocky. Overall, the anti-aliasing in this game is kind of weird, so some of the character's hair can look okay, and then other times it cannot, even with MetalFX off. And depending on what anti-aliasing solution you're going for, FXAA or so forth, I don't know. But overall, this game performs really well across Mac. I've only tested the game on 3 Macs, and it ran pretty well. I think it's pretty impressive that my M4 Mac Mini is able to pull off 60 FPS at 1080p medium, but do keep in mind this is with MetalFX unbalanced. So the only problem that you're going to come across here for me is, again, with MetalFX upscaling being noticeable with characters' hair. But I think it's really cool that this big AAA game is pulling off 60 frames on this nice little entry-level Mac Mini. I think it's really cool. And it still looks visually quite impressive when running like this. This game is just super, super beautiful to look at. I also tried the game on my 14-inch MacBook Pro with M4 Pro, and I could pretty comfortably play the game about at 1440p high with MetalFX on balanced. And the game looks really good here. I didn't notice the MetalFX issues as much. If you run the game at pretty high frame rates, it does throttle pretty quickly, so you definitely should enable a 60 FPS cap. You could also play at 1080p for a high frame rate, but I still found the game does make my machine throttle quite a lot. I also had the same issue on my M3 Max MacBook Pro. This game throttled it really hard, and in the end, the performance of the game was quite similar to my M4 Pro machine, which was interesting. And also, this machine did do a lot of shader compilation during gameplay, which is not ideal, but I was able to get around this by simply restarting. Yeah, but overall, I think this game performs really well, which is good. And I do wonder if they use game porting toolkit to help with the development, which is why it took so long. I don't know really what happened, but at the end of the day, I'm still really happy that this game is on Mac. It's awesome. I love the zombie games like Dying Light and Dead Island and so forth. So it's really good to have it here, and it's just a fun multiplayer game that you can play with your buddies. And we don't often get stuff like that on Mac, so it's very important to talk about it and promote it because it's good. And a lot of you probably already own the game because it's on Steam and so forth. So yeah, check it out if you're interested. It's very fun, but it's also very, very, very gory and violent, which is interesting because it's just interesting that Apple were promoting such a violent game, which they often don't do, but they have been recently with like Cyberpunk and Dead Island 2, which are incredibly violent games, which is very, very interesting. It is. It is. Okay, that's all I have to say. See ya. Bye bye.